Hello everyone. In this video I want to show you Windsurf, an IDE which is built around AI, and that is somehow the main difference to GitHub Copilot, for example, where we have an AI as a plugin into your existing IDE, like IntelliJ or Visual Studio Code. But with Windsurf, the IDE is built based on VS Code, but more or less from the scratch with a clear focus to be built around AI. And that's why we have here on the right side their core product Cascade, which is like the AI. I have it in the write mode so that it can change things for me. I have here a Spring Boot project, which is like a set of REST APIs. Here I have a REST controller for a products endpoint open, and I want to implement some methods which are missing here. The first one is marked with this to do. So let's get started by typing. I start in this demo with a command, get endpoint to find all products. Yeah, Windsurf directly sees what I want to do, so I can take the whole code just by pressing tab. We have here a compile error with list, so I can go here for a quick fix and import the list. Let's make this a little bit more complex by having the get endpoint to find all products and filtered by name. So we want just products with a special name. I will delete the old implementation here and see if I get a new one. And yes, here I have a new one. With the auto completion, or tab completion, the find by name method is not directly implemented. But I can now use Cascade to do this for me. So I say explain and fix, and that triggers here on the right side Cascade, which will now analyze the issue and try to fix the problem. Therefore, it looks into multiple classes which are somewhere in my repository and is thinking about how to solve it. So for sure, it has to analyze a product controller. Product repository is really good because there is the method to be implemented. And now it moves on searching stuff and is also explaining why it's doing what. So now it's making some changes. It's editing the product repository. It added 2 lines. And it's also changing my product controller in a way I didn't expect this and I didn't want it. I don't want a get mapping which filters by name. No, so I don't like this solution. So let me complain and cascade about this. Make just one get endpoint where name is an optional parameter. So now again, it's editing the product controller, and now I have probably what I expected here. It removed my previous comment and replaced it with a nice Java doc comment, so that's okay. That's also in the same style as we have it here below, though, so it's a good thing. It does a null check and it checks that the name is not empty. Yeah, it might be since it's an optional parameter, it could be also an empty string. And yeah, if it's not empty, we use the find by name method, otherwise the find all method. So that is the solution I expected, so I'm fine with that. changed two files. One is this one here. If you click on Open Diff, you see the differences, and we can keep the changes for now here. And it should have also changed the product repository. And here we introduced like a new method. It added also a comment that Spring Data JPA will automatically implement this method. So typically in my demo, I say explain this, and that is then the explanation. Here we have it now as a comment. I'm not sure if I personally like comments like this. I think they are unnecessary. Yeah, so let's delete it. Okay, that was the first implementation. Now I want to do something more. I will do this directly with Cascade. I say introduce a method to check if name is a German word and use it in get all products. So let's see what Windsurf is doing about this. In general, yeah, with Windsurf, you are more like using Cascade to code. You tell what you want, and Cascade is then changing this, and then you are way more code reviewing than you might be when you use the AI plugins. That is at least the difference for me. Yeah, when I use GitHub Copilot, I'm more coding myself, and here I use more the chat. So that's why it's very popular for vibe coding, which is exactly this, that you chat all the time and explain what you want the AI to code for you. Okay, so we have now the change. Yeah, the product controller changed. So let's see what we have here. We have a method which checks for a German word by calling a dictionary. That is an interesting solution. In my other demos, I just want to have this done by using a simple regex. So let's try this as another complaint. Use a simple regex to check if name is a German word. So the implementation of the get method, get all products, is exactly what I expected. Yeah, I want to have like an exception if it's not a German word. So what do we have now? A very complex method which checks if something is a German word. To be honest, I would have expected a null check followed by a regular expression. Yeah, like this one here. And if it has German structure, I would be fine. I don't think that this makes so much sense. Yeah, typically you want to validate that the input of your REST controller is like is like not an tag, yeah, or containing valid things, but like not so complex, yeah. Okay. Anyways, I will keep this now and move on with the next example. A bit below here, I have a method which contains a bug. So you can always say explain code like this, and then Windsurf is explaining the code. But what's more interesting here in this demo case is that we want to refactor and fix the bug. So there is a bug, so I say check for bugs and null pointers. And we get already a solution which is doing what? So the first problem is here in this method. We receive an ID and an update as parameter, and if ID is not null or update is not null, or if the product is valid for creation, then we do things, but that leads us here at this place in a null pointer exception. So the change, we see it above, is still using the OR, but if any of those apply, sorry for the pop-ups all the time, it shows a response status exception. So that's good. And then it is doing the find by ID. Here we have also an or else throw, which is better than just getting it, because we have to handle the case where the product is not found. Yeah, so I can accept all these changes. I can also, yeah, here we have the explanations. Yeah, that was just for showing it. What I want to change now is fixing this bug. So let's accept it, and now the code is here duplicated, so I delete this one. Anyways, yeah, so this is now fixed, and we can save it also and do something else. I want a fresh conversation now, and I ask, please list me all REST operations provided by this Spring Boot application. So this Spring Boot application contains more than this product controller, so I expect it to find also the customer controller and give me somehow an overview of the REST operations we have now. So here it explains the product controller, that looks good, and it found also the customer controller, and it is showing the customer controller. So that's good. And now let's assume we have products and customer. So I want something more. I say introduce an order controller where customers where customer and multiple products are combined in orders and stored in our database. Yeah, so that is now an instruction where I want it to implement logic for me. So let's see what it's doing now. Cascade is able to edit multiple files in parallel. So we will hopefully see here now a new controller. We will see new data objects like order. We will see changes in several files, and yeah, with that, I hope at the end I have a proper solution which we can code review together. Yeah, there are a lot of changes, as you see already here. Analyzed upfront. Now it's doing the changes. So maybe we start going class by class. So here we have order, which is a a class to be stored in the database. An order has a customer, a UUID, a list of products and an order date, also an order status like pending, processing, shipped, delivered, cancelled. That was not requested, so it built more than needed, or let's say more than a minimal solution would need. Okay. The customer has now also an entity so that it is stored in the database. That was not the case before, so probably that would have been some kind of bug here. We have also a customer repository that also didn't exist before. I think before the customer was just stored in memory because it was like just a showcase project. We have an order repository that is new. Find orders by customer, find order by status. Yeah, that fits of course to the class which has been created. Looks also, let's say, classic. We have changes in the customer controller. So what did it do here? Introduce a customer map, customer repository. Yeah, as I said before, the customers have just been stored in a customer map in memory, and that is now changed. So now the customers are stored in the database. We have a new order controller written from the scratch using Spring Data JPA repositories, customer repository, product repository. What else do we have? We have an order request, which is probably used by an order controller. Yeah, we looked in this before. And we have status update request, which is probably the answer to request. Okay, then we get a summary of what it changed. Yeah, so typically you don't look at this. Yeah, you wait for the response, and then you see here like the overview, what it did and why, and so on. And then you can look into all the files which have been changed and created, edited, and then you can decide to reject it or keep them all. I will keep them all just for now. And that is like a nice demo of this vibe coding style where you just write a sentence and then the AI is doing a lot at many places for you, and you can review it, chat again so that it changes again. So I could, for example, complain about the order because I didn't request anything about a status or even the date. Yeah, I just wrote I want customers and a list of products. So this here would have been sufficient for my request. Anyways, yeah, so that is how it works. And I think it's super strong, Windsurf, if you are like new to coding, you want to build something from the scratch, and you don't have so much deep experience. What I experienced myself when I was using Windsurf in an existing bigger project, that this was really an issue, that on the one hand, too much has been generated, like we have seen here in this example where we have additionally the status which was not required. And also the coding style did not always fit to the style we developed. And that was like the issue we had in this huge project. Anyways, I think it's something very interesting to have the IDE built around AI. So I can only encourage you to have a look at Windsurf and check it out for yourself.